What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Bleach again, because I really don't get to talk about Bleach all that often on this channel because it's not been incredibly relevant, but now it is, so I'm really stoked. I want to talk about three things, but I'm going to separate them into three different videos. Today we are going to be talking about who will return from hell, what exactly, I mean, not exactly what will happen, because it's not a prediction video in that sense, but like kind of some ins and outs of like what to expect from hell, given, oh, also, spoilers, spoilers from the last one-shot chapter, one-shot, it's gonna continue, but spoilers, if you have not read the newest Bleach chapter, what year is it? I don't know, go back and read it. It's 73 pages. It's long, but it's so good. Then come back and watch this and tell me what you think. In any event, I wanted to talk about very specifically who we might see coming back from hell, how it'll affect certain interactions, and so on. So I've written up some, like, basically a list of people and things that I think will happen from hell. No particular order except for the order that I wrote them in. Obviously, let's just get the obvious characters out of the way. Yama, Ukitake, and Unohana will make some kind of appearance. I honestly think this is how we see Ukitake's Bankai. Now, granted, we don't know exactly what kind of representation they'll have. I don't see Yamamoto going all out. Maybe he's like, we don't know what the characters are like when they get sent to hell. Obviously, Xyle Aparo is back, and he's still a dick, but like, who knows what happens to a Soul Reaper who literally dies, and then gets like Reishi'd up and all that, and then just kind of eventually makes their way naturally to hell via this ceremony. We don't know what kind of form they'll take. We don't know what kind of mindset. I imagine that they will be antagonists, whether it's a matter of them being pissed off that this is how it went, or whether they're being mind controlled in some way. We don't know for sure. But either way, I imagine that there will be some kind of conflict with the three of them, and we will see Ukitake's Bankai through this. We got recently a Beyond Bankai, one of those Bleach Brave Souls things where it's like, oh, this is Beyond Bankai, whatever the heck that means. And I think we will see his basic Bankai in this form. His sword was huge at the end of the chapter, so I don't know what that means. It could just be a representation of Sogyo no Kotoware in general, but I'm really excited to see. I think we will see him, and obviously, I think those are the kind of the matchups. I'm gonna get into more of the matchups in a second, but like, I think that's kind of the matchups. We'll see Ukitake versus maybe Rukia against Ukitake. I don't know what's going on with that. Is Kyan in hell, or is he see, that's the thing. Kyan's a weird situation because it's like he was a lieutenant, and for all intents and purposes, lieutenants don't have any problem re-entering the soil of the Soul Society and getting reincarnated and whatnot. But Kyan was kind of like implied to have had a certain amount of strength higher than the ordinary lieutenant, and potentially being thought about as a captain level Soul Reaper, so we shall see. Plus, there's a whole funny business with Araniro and him being like sucked up by like a hollow. We don't know, but again, we shall see. My next thought is all of the Kenpachis. I think they will all be there. And I think this is the perfect opportunity for Zaraki, Kenpachi Zaraki, to just go ham. We got to see his Bankai at the end of the series, but he really didn't do a whole lot with it because it was brand new to him. So it really messed up his body. But I think this is the prime opportunity to show that he is the strongest Kenpachi to ever exist. And you do that by having him basically take out all of the other Kenpachis. Maybe it's like a battle royale even. Maybe even despite them all being in hell and like theoretically being against whatever the good guys, um maybe they all just are like, I'm gonna be the top Kenpachi. I'm gonna be the top Kenpachi. Blah 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 blah, and they all just kind of go at each other, and it's just a Kenpachi brawl, which I think would be awesome. And if Kenpachi has done any amount of training to perfect his Bankai in the last 12 years, oh boy, oh boy, this is gonna be really cool. And if we see Yachiru again, because she's okay, listen, she is definitely his Zanpakuto spirit. I think the whole, not to get off on too much of a tangent here, but I think the whole thing with him and Yachiru is that he is so unbelievably strong. Keep hitting my mic. He is so unbelievably strong that he physically manifested another person, his Zanpakuto spirit, permanently nearly. And then she disappeared by the time he actually learned Nozurashi's real name. So I think that's what's going on with that. So I think there's a real good chance that we see Zaraki fighting all of the other Kenpachis. Maybe with Unohana, I don't know. We already kind of had that fight, right? But maybe all of the other Kenpachis, and Zaraki just like once and for all proves that he is the strongest. And then maybe we'll see Yachiru, because I really want to see her again. Other contenders I think that we will see coming out of hell are the other founding members of the 13 Court Guard Squad. Now, obviously, we have Yama and we have Unohana. We knew about them. We've known about them since the beginning. They're not much of a secret. But we don't know any of the other, like, beastly Soul Reapers or whatever that they talked about during the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. And I think we are definitely going to get some backstory that we have been waiting for a long time. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this new Hell arc, is that it's going to open up a lot of doors for us to get information that we really should have gotten during the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Like, maybe the fight with Yuha Bak. I don't think we'll see Yuha Bak in this, other than just, like, he's a crystal or something like that. But I think we definitely see the original founding members of the Court Guard Squad, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know who will go up against them, because they're supposed to be really, really strong. But either way, I think we see them in some capacity, and I think that could set up a really cool fight. I'm a little on the fence. Again, with Yama, Ukitake, and Unohana, I definitely see Rukia versus Ukitake. I think that goes in a very specific way, where it's like, maybe he's antagonistic at first, but like when she defeats him, it's like, okay, he's happy that she has like finally grown up and become strong. I think it'll end in a happy way. Maybe with Unohana as well. But I don't know. Maybe it's the kind of thing where it's like Unohana and Yamamoto are like in hell, sure, but maybe they fight against the original like founding Court Guard Squad members, like their other contemporaries. Maybe they fight against them, and it's like, listen, we're here too, but we're not down with this. Let's just chill out, and then they all brawl out, which would be a really cool fight too. Now, I think we'll see some Arankars. I don't think that we'll see a lot. A lot of people are jumping at Ulquiorra and whatnot, and maybe even Stark. But that's a tricky, very tricky situation, right? Arankar are hollows. That's just how they are. They are the pinnacle of hollows, right? So hollows do not get sent to hell, at the very least when they're killed by Soul Reapers. They do not get sent to hell unless they had done something evil in their past as a human. So like, for what, like Shrieker, for instance, in the first arc, he was a serial killer. And so he went to hell because we should also see Shrieker. I didn't even think of that. Which we're kind of, I'm going to get into it a little bit more later on, but we're kind of going a little bit into the movie stuff right now. Either way, it's a little weird. It's a little bit of a weird situation with the Arankars because I don't think we see all the Arankars that were ever defeated. Because prior to becoming Arankars, prior to becoming Hollows, they might have just been normal people, and that's just kind of it. And then they got played a bad uh, hand, and it's hard to know. I think we maybe see some of them, but not all of them. And that's why I'm a little on the fence about Ulquiorra, because he's not necessarily evil. He could have just been a really lonely guy as a human, died, spent his afterlife feeling really depressed, went to Hueco Mundo and got turned into a hollow, and then just like it tumbleweeds its way to him being an Arankar and being defeated by Ichigo, Hollow Ichigo. So I'm not 1,000% sure we'll see Ulquiorra besides maybe a flashback. Now, people that I think we will definitely see, and not all of them necessarily, but some of them, are some of the Quincy's. We will not be seeing Yuha because he is the Soul King, basically. He was defeated by Ichigo, but they basically, like, just put him in a tube and then put him up in the Soul Palace. So he is effectively the Soul King and not quite dead, per se. But the other Quincy's, certainly, honestly, here's an idea. Here's an idea off the top of my head. What if Yamamoto has some connection to hell, and that's how he resurrects people in his Bankai? Now, resurrect in quotes, right? But he, like, kind of brings them back as skeletons, and that's, like, maybe that's what that is, where he's, like, basically, like, temporarily borrowing them from hell. Granted, he has to be the one to kill them in order to do that. It doesn't matter. Either way, I think we'll see Quincy's of some sort, because some of them were actually real dicks. So I think that it's a sliding scale, right? What really defines a bad person? Now, granted, the Quincy's were like a fascist group of people that were basically on a warpath and killed a lot of people. So I don't know. I kind of hope that we'll see Basby again. I think he kind of had a redemption kind of thing going on. He almost killed Izuru, Kira. But I hope that we'll see him again. That kind of brings me up in a thought process of, like, not all the people that we see in hell are going to be bad per se. Obviously, Xylophoro is bad. Obviously, those weird monster beastly hell beasts or whatever are bad. And obviously, most of the Quincy's are going to be bad too. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be evil unless there's something kind of twisting things around. What I do think will happen, now this is more or less what I think, who I generally think will come about in this whole thing. But I think that what we'll see here is a team up of the Soul Reapers Quincy's that are alive and Hollows, very similar to the Can't Be Your Own World novels. If you haven't seen those, if you haven't read them or played them in Bleach Brave Souls, more or less, in order to take down the enemy in that story, a bunch of the different characters come together. So you have the Soul Reapers, and you have some of the remaining Quincy that are alive, like the girls, and you have like Grimmjow and Neliel and whatever come together, and they all fight the common enemy in that story. So I think that's basically what's going to happen here. Now, granted, we don't know what the scope of this story is going to be or how long it's going to be, but I think that they kind of get their, like, all members of the court or whatever, from all three worlds, Human World, Soul Society, and Hueco Mundo, and, Quincy's are from Human World, but I think all three worlds are going to come together and be like, this is a problem, we got to deal with it. I do think that there will be a big baddie in this. I think it would be interesting if it was just, the former Soul Reapers and, like, former enemies coming back from the dead, more or less. But I do think that there will be an ultimate big baddie, whether it's basically, like, who knows, maybe there's some brainwashing stuff going on, or maybe, I don't know. I mean, we don't know enough about hell in the canonical sense to be able to say one way or the other, because obviously hell, if they're sending Soul Reapers, like Captain Class Soul Reapers there, they're not necessarily all bad people. So that's kind of the trick there. So like if we're gonna have a conflict, we're probably going to have to deal with somebody who's manipulating these Soul Reapers and other entities from hell in order to do their bidding. Again, because can you imagine if Ukitake is just like, I'm angry that I went to hell. What the hell is wrong with you? Play on words. What's wrong with you, Rukia? I'm gonna kill you for no reason now. And it's like, can you imagine if that was the case? This nice man suddenly becoming evil for no reason whatsoever. So I think there will be some finagling and mind control stuff going on. Obviously, there will be some bad guys. I don't think Xyle Opero is being controlled in that sense of like mind control, because he's legitimately a bad guy. So I think he will be a bad guy. But it's something to think about. And like, obviously I've kind of tap danced around this, but we had a movie all around hell. Obviously that is not canonical. And Kubo apparently had a real big issue with it. Apparently he was not given like the final script until like right as they were like announcing the movie or something like that. And there was a whole thing about like his notes not being really used. So he didn't really like that, even though he probably had a lot of really good ideas for it. The question is, how much do they use from that story, and how much does he incorporate into this new story that is canonical to the overall story? For instance, does hell actually have multiple levels? Now, granted, it's like, this is like the Buddhist, the Bleach is basically going by like Buddhist like religion, more or less. And now I don't know much about the Buddhist religion, but I do know that there's like different realms, and it's not just, oh, heaven, earth, and hell. It's like, oh, there's the effectively heaven realm, which is the Soul Society, but then there's also the realm of like, which is basically like Hueco Mundo, and hell is not exactly one particular it's not one place. It's kind of got levels to it, and it's a apparently it's also more of a cold place. So I don't know, maybe Kubo will play with that a little bit. Another thing I want to bring up is, what about sinners? Now you could argue that like, okay, sinners are kind of like in that weird zone. So you have the Soul Reapers that are getting sent there, because they are too powerful to just be reincarnated into the system. And then you have really bad guys like Xyle Opero. Does Kubo reincorporate the sinner aspect of, I think it was like Togabito or something like that, of just like legitimately bad people that are now living in hell? Does he reincorporate that? And maybe that's the other side of it, where it's like the big bad has the sinners, the people that are legitimately bad, and they're following him. But then also he's like mind controlling or doing some crazy stuff with the chains to control the like what otherwise would be good people, or at least people that are not evil, to do his bidding too. And for that matter, are the sinners, like, are the lower level sinners those hell beasts? They're hollows, but not really hollows in a way. They've got their hollow holes basically removed from their bodies, apparently, or they've got these giant rings on them, whether they're touching them or just kind of like protruding out from them. So that's a whole other aspect of that. It's like a secondary, they're like cousins of hollows, I guess, in a way. It'll be really interesting to see like the differences between the people that were meant to go to hell because they were bad people, and the people that were just like, oh, they had to go to hell because they had to get like flushed out of the Soul Society because they were too strong. So it'll be interesting to see them. Obviously, hell, anybody coming from hell is going to be in some way an antagonist. It's just a matter of whether it's their own control and their own like thought process that's bringing them to be antagonists, or whether they're being controlled themselves. Now, this is a 20th anniversary, basically like story that Kubo's doing for the 20th anniversary. It's special, which is why I think that we'll see a lot of returning characters, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for Kubo to finally just like dole out the bankais and releases of like, and powers in general, of people that like he kind of set up to have powers, but never showed them off. Like, maybe we'll see Yoruichi's Zanpakuto at this point. And granted, like, she doesn't need it, but maybe we'll see it, finally. In the, let me see. This is, like, yeah, no, over here. Right here. We see Tetsudaimon Iba. He has never, ever, we don't know what his Bankai is, obviously, because he was only revealed to be a captain at the end of the story. But we've never ever gotten his release or his Zanpakuto no name at all. All we know is that when it's sealed, it is a Tonto, and that's basically it. and technically that his Shikai is a giant scimitar kind of thing with like a weird pick thing coming out of it. But we don't know anything else about it. So I think this is the opportunity for Kubo to finally just be like, oh, this is Iba's Shikai, and this is what his Bankai is going to be. What about Isane? Isane has a Bankai. Right there, my hand's disappearing. Isane has a Bankai. We don't know what that is. Lisa is behind me somewhere, whatever. Right there. Lisa's got a Bankai. We'll see that eventually. I don't know. And Rukia perfected her Bankai, presumably. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to see, and I think this is the perfect opportunity by bringing back characters, having very specific character interactions that would maybe bring about those that information, and obviously hearing about the lore of the Soul Society. Like, I have a whole other video planned for the ritual that is the ceremony that is done to send them off basically to hell. But I'm incredibly interested to see what all these other characters are like, and I have a feeling that we're gonna get a lot of fan service in this season, arc, whatever. But yeah, that's I just wanted to kind of talk about what we might see coming out of Hell, and just kind of like get a general idea of what kind of matchups we'll have. I don't know. I think it's really interesting that we're going to Hell, and there's a possibility to see not just normal bad guys, but also, you know, people that we once considered good guys, and once were considered good guys in general, I guess, because they were Soul Reapers. Not that the original Soul Reapers were necessarily good guys, but we shall see. I think there's a lot of potential. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you excited to see who might be in Hell and might be coming back from the dead, essentially? What kind of matchups do you think we will have? Do you think the Soul Reapers like Ukitake and Yamamoto and Unohana and just in general, do you think that they are like gonna be evil in a sense, or do you think that they're going to be, I don't know, good, but maybe being controlled, or maybe good in general, and they're going to help out? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I will greatly appreciate it if you do. I will see you guys in another video. Make sure to keep a lookout for 2 more Hell-related videos of Bleach coming soon. I want to talk about it all. I will see you guys later. Bye.